Our topic is a very interesting one. The title is The War of Gog and Magog at the End of Days. I'll explain a few things. First of all, the term End of Days is a term that mentioned in the Tanakh, in the words of the Nevi'im, in few places. So it was very interesting to me to work on this. I just collect all the events that the Nevi'im says going to happen at the end of days. So I made some list. It's not necessarily that it will go according to this, but the events. So one of the events that everyone, I guess, heard about is the big war ever called Milchemet Gog uMagog, the War of Gog and Magog. We have to know that the Nechama, I mean, it's not a pleasant topic to discuss, a war, but one of the things that the Nevi'im, the Prophet says also going to happen at the end of days will be the international peace, that will be no more wars. It's true, it's one of the things that are going to happen at the end of days, but before will be one big war, not just big, the biggest war ever. The biggest war ever, and the name of it is Milchemet Gog uMagog. The war of Gog and Magog. And now, I mean, in the series of the shiurim that we have, the classes that we're going to have, we're going to discuss the information in the Nevi'im, in the Tanakh, what kind of picture we could have about what to expect. Okay, so I gave you this source sheet. That's actually a few psukim, few verses from one chapter in Yecheskel. Yecheskel, chapter 38 is the place in the Tanakh that most of the information about this particular war described. But so we're gonna use those sheets later, but let's first see what actually we're trying to do. So when I started to be interested in learning this issue of Milchemet Gog uMagog, as a very thorough Yeke person, which is in my personality, I set a series of questions for myself to what I really want to know. What if I'll get answers about those questions? I could say, okay, I have some picture. I was not that optimistic in the beginning that those questions will be answered, but I was surprised. They were answered completely and raised more questions that also answered. So I want to share with you first the questions. Gog uMagog, everyone heard the title. What is it? What is Gog uMagog? The two options apparently are names of two leaders. One by the name Gog, the other is Magog, and they have a conflict, they fight between themselves. The other options, it's not a name of people, but a name of nations. That one is by the name Gog, a nation by the name Gog, and the other nation by the name Magog. So the first thing that I wanted to verify, what is it Bichlal? What is it altogether? The next question, obviously, is how this war connected to us. We are not in the title, we are not Gog, we are not Magog. So is this war going to involve the Jewish people? Where are we in the picture? Are we involved? So this is the second question. The third question, in the words of the prophets, all over the Tanakh. By the way, I think I mentioned that again. The information about Milchemet Gog uMagog are spread all over in words of different Nevi'im, different prophets. But we starting from Yecheskel because in Yecheskel chapter 38 is the most information, we could add from different places. Now, the third question is, anywhere in the words of the Nevi'im, is it mentioned the location of the war, where the war is going to take place? That's question number 3. Question number 4, there is any more specific time aside from the end of days, which could be in the future, but there is something more exact, more close to give us a sense when it's going to happen. Question number 5, what is the reason of this war? We understood that it's a big war. It's the biggest war. What is the reason of this war? What's going to cause it? And of course, the last question for now is, question number 6, what will be the results of the war? And here we have to just add that in Christianity, they relate a lot in the apocalypse about the end of the war, the end of the world, and they use this war to give some expectation that it will be the end of the world. It's not true. And again, I want to verify what will be the result of the world. Is it the end of the world, or if not, what purpose it's going to serve and what will be after it? Okay, so those are the basic questions. With this, let's go to Sefer Yechezkel. So you have here the first few psukim, 1 to 5 in the first page, 1 to 5 verses. I will read it in the original. You have the translation over here, and I'll tell you in advance, anywhere in the Torah, in the Tanakh, I don't like the translation. Because the translation is not accurate, even if they are very, very trying to be accurate. So many things, I'll explain what that means in the original Hebrew, even though you have here the general translation, but okay. So, few words about Yechezkel. Yechezkel was one of the last Nevi'im. He lived at the time of the end, really few years. He started to give his prophecies few years, 5-6 years before the destruction of the first temple. The first temple, we're talking about approximately 25,000, 26,000 years ago. And he was one of the Nevi'im Acharonim, the last Nevi'im that we had, because the Tanakh continues.
2,600?
2,600 years ago. Make the calculation. Anyway, the Tanakh, the Nevi'im that was behind, after him was about maybe 80 years after him, and that's it. 80 or 100 years after him, and that's the end of the Tanakh. So you consider from the Nevi'im Acharonim, the last Nevi'im. And in Sefer Yechezkel, the book of Yechezkel is very interesting. From the beginning of the book to around chapter 36, he gives prophecies to his generation about events that are going to happen at his time. From chapter 36 to the end of the book, he speaks about Acharit Hayamim, the end of days. What's going to happen at the end of days? There is a long description at the end of the book about the third temple, where it's going to be located, everything. Few good chapters speaks about this. In chapter 38, 39, he speaks about Milchemet Gog uMagog, about the war of Gog uMagog. Okay? So let's read what's written there. Vayidvar Hashem elai lemor. He says, Hashem talked to me, and he asked me to do the following. Ben Adam, sim panecha el Gog eretz haMagog. This nevuah I'm giving you to address Gog, Eretz HaMagog, the land of Magog. Nesi Rosh Meshech v'Tuval v'Yinaveh alav. And this Gog is a president or a chief prince of Meshech and Tuval, and the prophecy is addressed to him. From this verse, we could solve our first question. We ask, what is Gog and Magog? Names of two leaders, names of two nations? None. None. Gog is the name of a person. Magog is the name of a nation. And Gog is the king of Magog. Meaning, it's not the two sides of the words over here. It's the one side. And Gog is the leader of Magog. And of course, few questions now come up. What is Magog? Where is it? And against who the war will be? If it's one side, if it's Gog against Magog, we could understand. We have the two sides. But if Gog is the leader of Magog, against who he's gonna fight, right? But the first question answered, right? Gog is the name of a person, name of a leader. Magog is the name of a nation. Now, another thing that maybe it's good to add now. According to the Jewish philosophy, the nations of the world are 71 only. Let me just give you a brief review. The Torah described in Parashat Noach, right after the Mabul, they built the Tower of Babylon, remember? You know where is it located in the Torah? What chapter? Chapter 11. Because that was the chapter 11 of the human race. Chapter 11. So I already remember that this is in chapter 11. What happened there? They gathered together, decided to build the city with a tower, and Hashem didn't like it. And the chapter 11 started, Vayhi kol haaretz safa achat udvarim achadim. The first verse is, everyone spoke the same language, because all of them were the descendants of Noah. Was no many languages, one language, everyone spoke the same language. With this language, they decided to get together and do something against Hashem, and Hashem didn't like it. So Hashem said, you use my gift to you of your communication to go against me, I'm going to take it from you. And he broke the language. And this is the name of Bavel. Bavel is mix up. He mixed up the language and he created 70 languages. 70. Why?
Which language was the first one?
Of course, Lashon HaKodesh. Hebrew. The first language, the original language was Hebrew. So the Torah says, yeah. So that's why I said 71. So there is a verse, there is a pasuk in Sefer Devarim, in Deuteronomy, at the end of Deuteronomy, in Shirat HaAzinu, Parashat HaAzinu, it says over there the following: Behanchel Elyon Goyim, Behafrido Bnei Adam. When Hashem separated the nation, Behafrido Bnei Adam, Yatzev Gvulot Amim Lemispar Bnei Israel. The borders of the nation that was created when Hashem separated or broke the first language to many languages was to the number of Bnei Israel. What number? What number? 70. B'shiv'im nefesh yardu avotecha Mitzrayim. And 70 people went with Yaakov down to Egypt. So 70 languages, 70 nations around the world. Now, there is a significance to the number, and we have actually 71, the 70 and us. Now, the nation that Hashem created are the nations, and that's it. If you go today, here in Manhattan, not too far, to the United Nations, you will find, by the way, United Nations is just against what Hashem did. They want to unify, Hashem wants them to separate. Okay. You will find that there are representatives over there of more than 70 nations. So, it's artificial nations. There are only 70. Only 70. And more than that, nations could be separated during the history, but it doesn't make them different nations. They are the same. There are 70 categories. Now, during the history, names of nations changed. Even in our time, you know about Persian and Iran. It's the same. They changed the name, but they didn't change the people. Same thing happened with Ethiopia. It used to be Chabash, and Ethiopia. And there are different examples to this. Now, one of the projects of the challenges that we have over here is to verify there is a nation called Magog in the Tanakh, right? The question is, what is this nation today? There is a nation today. We cannot find this name in the United Nations. No such a nation by this name today. But there is a nation with a different name, which is this nation. So our challenge is to get more than just signs. What is it? And I'm going to tell it to you. It's going to be very amazing, very interesting. Okay. Now, before we go on, we find over here that this person, Gog, that, by the way, didn't live at the time of Yechezkel, because I'm going to show you in the continuation of the chapter that he's going to say that this event going to happen at the end of days. So obviously, this person didn't live at the time, but anyway, the Nevuah that Hashem sent, told Yechezkel, address it to him. Sim panecha el Gog. The prophecy or the scenario over here is addressed to this person, Gog. Okay, so what we will learn more about Gog, that he is a chief prince of Meshech and Tuval. Now, Meshech and Tuval are another two nations, aside from Magog. You have here three nations mentioned in this verse. Magog, Meshech and Tuval. And the king of Magog is a prince also on Meshech and Tuval. And next verse, again, repeat this. ואמרת, כה אמר השם אלוקים, הנני אליך גוג, נשיא ראש משך ותובל. You are the leader of Meshech ותובל and Magog. Now, let me tell you, when you read this, even if you Hebrew speakers, most of the people who read this verse, it doesn't say anything to them, because we do not know those nations. What's Magog, what's Meshech, what's Tuval? But that was not the case when I learned this. Tell you why. I'm a Yemenite. I mean, I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel, but my parents are from Yemen. And when I was a kid, my father thought that aside from learning in school, I have to learn afternoon the Torah. So I went to learn the Torah with the translation to Aramaic, and I knew it by heart as a kid. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but later on, I realized what a gift is this. Because I'm learning now this Yechezkel. I wanted to understand the Gog of Magog war, right? When I read this verse about Magog, Meshech v'Tuval, the red lights in my brain start to go crazy. You know those guys. They mention in the Torah in a different place. It took me half a minute to realize where. You know where? In Sefer Bereshis. In Parshat Noach. After the Mabul, there are the dynasties that came from Shem, Ham, Veyefet. And if you will go there, you do not have this in front of you. I'll quote the passage for you, the verse from there. It's in chapter 10. In Sefer Bereshit, the first few psukim, the first two verses of chapter 10. It says in Sefer Bereshit the following: Ve'ele toldot bnei Noach. Those are the sons of Noach, Shem, Ham, Veyefet. Vayivaldu lahem banim achar mabul. So Noach has three sons, Shem, Ham, Veyefet. Now listen carefully to the next verse. Bnei Yefet. Who are the sons of Yefet? Yefet has 7 sons. Listen to the names. Bnei Yefet, Gomer, Magog. Magog is number 2. The son number 2 of Yefet. But listen to the end. Bnei Yefet, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Veyavan, Vetuval, Meshech, Vetiras. Tuval and Meshech are number 5 and number 6. And they're all brothers. Number 2 is Magog, number 5 and 6 is Meshech Vetuval. So wow, let's see. Soon it's going to be amazing what this little piece of information is so significant to understand the entire thing. So we find out We want to know who is Magog, right? So now we have the beginning clue. Gog is one of the sons of Yefet. He is son number 2. He have another 2 brothers that will be involved in this war. And then Yechezkel mentioned that at the time, the king of Magog will be also a chief prince of Meshech and Tuval. So they all connected and they came from the same place. Very interesting. Why it's interesting? I'll tell you why. The first son is not mentioned in Yechezkel yet. He will be mentioned soon. Gomer. Again, who are the 7 sons of Yefet? Bnei Yefet. Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavan. Yavan is Greece. Until today, Yavan, the Greeks. Okay? Madai, Yavan, Tuval, Meshech, Tiras. Now, Gomer, that's the first son of Yefet, is Germany.
Which one?
Gomer is Germany. The Gemara says that Gomer is Germany. You see the letters of Germany are in there. Gomer. But
Gimel, Mem,
Resh. Gimel, Mem, Resh. Gomer. But if you go to the next verse over here, after he mentioned the seven sons of Yefet, he says, Uvnei Gomer, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Verifat, Vetogarma. So Ashkenaz is Deutschland, and Ashkenaz is the son of Gomer. So what we find out over here, that Gomer is a nation in Europe. Greece also, that mentioned in its name, and this is the name until today in Hebrew, Yavan, is in Europe. And here, let me tell you something very interesting. Yefet, Shem, and Ham was the son of Noah, right? Noah was saved with his son in the Teva. They are the only people who saved, right? All the people in the world after the Mabul, after the flood, are from either Shem, Ham, and Yefet. Now, the Torah described that when the Mabul ended, the Teva, the Ark of Noah, landed Al Harei Ararat. That's the words in the Torah. Harei Ararat, the mountains of Ararat. What is Ararat? The Targum, the translation to Aramaic, says Harei Ararat Turei Kardo. Turei Kardo, meaning Ararat is the Kurdish, the Kurdistan. Kurdistan, it's the place between Turkey of today to Iraq. This is the place of those mountains, and over there the ark landed. Then the Torah says that after the Mabul, they went out of the Teva and they went southeast, and they built the Tower of Babylon in Bavel, which is Iraq, right? Okay. By the Tower of Babylon, Hashem spread them all over. Now look at this, it's very, very interesting. Everyone was around this tower that was in Iraq, right? If you look at the description, the Torah described not just the son of Yefet, also the son of Shem and the son of Ham. You could find something very interesting. Before we discover Australia and America, the only continent that was known are Europe, Asia, and Africa. If you look at the names of Bnei Noach, you could find something very interesting. The sons of Ham has 4 sons. The sons of Ham went down to Africa. It says, who are the sons of Ham? 4 sons, Ham. Uvnei Ham, Cush, Umitzrayim, Ufut, Uknaan. Cush, Mitzrayim, we know where's Egypt. Egypt is the corner of Africa, right next to Libya, right? So it's in Africa. Cush are the black people, the Cushim. And Fut is also a black kind of people. So Cush, Mitzrayim, Ufut are in Africa, all of them. So they went to the south from Iraq. The only exception was Canaan. Canaan, instead of going with his brothers, he came to the land of Israel of today, right? But still, you could find or describe where they are. Now, if you look at the sons of Yefet, you could see that they headed north to Europe from Iraq. We know where is Greece. Greece is in Europe. We know Germany. It's in Europe, Gomer, right? So according to this, and the sons of Shem stayed in the Middle East. Avraham Avinu was 10 generations after he was born in Iraq. So basically, this is approximately the way it was divided. Why it's helping us? Because we want to verify what is Magog. We know that it's a brother of Gomer and Yavan. So the clue for right now is to look for it in Europe. And it's not Germany. Magog is not Germany, because Germany is the brother of. So, but it should be, it seems that it's a nation, a nation in Europe. Okay, let's continue. See,
Was Madai?
Madai was Persian, Paras Madai.
Yes.
So the Chazal says that Tiras, the seventh son of Yefet, Tiras is Paras. Madai Paras was connected, if you remember, in the Megillah, Malchei Paras Madai. They were very close to each other. We're talking about Madai is a place in the south of Russia of today. Russia close to Persia, to Iran. This is approximately the location where they were. Okay? But still we have to verify what is Gomer and what is Tuval and Meshech. Where are they and who they are? Okay, so let's continue. So after this prophecy or this scenario commanded to Mechastet to address it to this guy, his name is Gog. Okay, let's go to verse number 4. ושובבתיך, ונתתי חכים בלחייך, והוצאתי אותך ואת כל חילך, סוסים ופרשים, לבושי מכלול כולם, קהל רב, צינה ומגן, תופסי חרבות כולם. I'm not guaranteed that the translation over here is the accurate one, therefore I will try to translate it more accurate. Okay? So he said the following, ושובבתיך. In Hebrew, for sure, I don't know how they translate. And I will turn you. Okay. It's much more than this. Let me explain. ושובבתיך. In order to understand any word in the Hebrew language, in the Holy Language, you have to go to the root of it. The shoresh, to the root. I don't know. Do you know what? Do you know the word in Hebrew shovav? Mischievous. You familiar with these guys? The mischievous. Shovav. How do you say mischievous in Hebrew? Shovav. Why it's called shovav? Because he's out of control. He could not stay in one place. He has to go around and around and around. And this is the word, it's connected to the word sivuv, leistovev, turn, to turn. Shovavticha. Sevivon sof sof sof. Lashuv, lashuv, lasuv. So actually what he says, I will gonna turn you. I'm gonna plant an idea in your head. That's what Hashem says to Gog. I'm going to plant an idea to your head that you will go to this big war. This is the meaning of the word Veshovavticha. Venatati chachim belechayecha. Chachim are thorns. Keshoshana ben achochim from Shir Hashirim, right? So what is the meaning to stick thorns in your cheeks? When I want to make you do something, I tease you. I put thorns in your cheeks to make you go to the direction that I want you to go. Okay? So that is the first few words. Veshovavticha, venatati chachim belechayecha, veotzeti otcha, and I'll cause you to gather many, many soldiers and a lot of army. And he mentioned over here, Yecheskel, horses. Right? Horses and horsemen. Hashem says to Yecheskel, talk to Gog. I will make you Gog. gather a lot of army, gather a lot of soldiers, and go. Now we mentioned over here horses and horsemen. How? In the modern history, no more wars with horses, right? So it seems like that if this war gonna happen at the end of days, it's not updated. So you have to understand the following. The Navi, the prophet, has to give the Nevuah, but the Nevuah should be understood to the people that they're talking to. So, because in the next few verses he will say, this event gonna happen at the end of days, if he will speak about nuclear missiles, no one will understand what he's talking about. So you have to understand it. He's saying, because it should be understood during the history, he wants to say over here, you will gather a lot of army power. So he mentioned horses, but it could be tanks. It's not, it's, you know, he mentioned what was known at his time and most of the history, relying on us to do the update it to Acharit Hayamim, to the end of days.
Relative to the time.
Right. So he mentioned over here that you will come with a lot of army force. And they will have the best equipment. Okay? Now it says over here, Et kol chilcha, all your army. Be aware of this because he's going to repeat this many times in the next few verses, that there will be many, many soldiers equipped with the best army equipment. He will repeat this again and again. Now we continue to say, after we know that he is a chief prince of Magog and Meshech Vetuval, which is, as I said, his brothers from the same family of Yefet, he mentioned more nations that are going to come with him. Look to verse number 5. Who else will come with him? Persia, Cush, Ufut. And again, Persia is Tiras, so it's still in the family. But Cush, Ufut are from the family of Ham. So they also will join. Paras, Cush, Ufut, and they will come also fully armed. Turn the page. Verse number 6. Who else will come with him? Gomer. And here's Gomer, his older brother. But be aware of this. Gomer v'chol agapeha. What's v'chol agapeha? And all its what? Courts. Why it's, yeah, why they say this? Why the pasuk said this about Gomer, about Germany? Because Germany always, until today, is not unified. It's divided to different tribes, German tribes. Even in Germany of today, we have East Germany, West Germany, but even after that, today in Germany there are colonies that each one of them is a state by itself, right? So the Navi knows about it, and he said v'chol agapea, and all the satellites or the one around it. Okay, so they will come also. Bet Togarma. Bet Togarma, Togarma is Turkey. So Turkey also will come with them. ירכתי צפון ואת כל אגפיו, all its satellites, nations that connected to him, עמים רבים איתך. Be aware of the last three words. Many nations. עמים רבים, many nations. And you will see that it's going to repeat itself again and again, that there will be many, many nations. As I said in the beginning, this war is going to be the biggest war ever. This one will be the only one that you really could say on it that it is a world war. We know World War I and World War II. It's not accurate. World War I for sure not. It was many nations, but it was not the entire world. World War II was more nations, but still, we know that Switzerland was neutral, and it's not the entire world. But this one will be the entire world. When he said Amim Rabim, many nations, I could tell you, all the nations of the world will come with him.
Will come
With Gog to the war. Against who we'll see.
So all these nations that we
Yes. Soon we're going to see it. היכון ואכן לך, verse number 7. היכון ואכן לך אתה וכל קהלך נקלים עליך והיית להם למשמר. Here he said, be ready. Be ready to this word. You and all the big army that you're going to bring, and be aware of the last three words. והיית להם למשמר. Reserve for them. Or actually more accurate, protect them. The meaning of this is the following. This mission of this world will be so scary that each one of the nation will not be willing to go to this war by themselves. But because you gathering them, they will feel safe under your umbrella. You will protect them. The meaning of it, go. So that gives us another indication that we're talking here about a superpower. Not just about a nation that could give security to all the others that come under their umbrella. Because the Tanakh mentioned over here, והיית להם למשמר. Now we're coming to the most interesting verse in this chapter. Remember one of the two questions that we asked, 2 out of the 6, when the war gonna happen and where the war gonna happen. Verse number 8 answer or address this. Let's see, slowly. מימים רבים תיפקד. It's not gonna happen today. Yechezkel said at this time. It's gonna happen a long time ahead. מימים רבים תיפקד. באחרית השנים תבוא. And here is one of the 2 places that he mentioned the word אחרית. Here he said באחרית השנים, the end of the years, and later on he will say the end of the days. באחרית הימים. So it's not. So here Yechezkel said, this event that I'm talking about is not going to happen in my days. It's going to be long time in the future. Okay? מימים רבים תיפקד, באחרית השנים תבוא. Now we give very interesting indication about the location. He's switched from the timing to the location. Now look at the 3 signs. Sign number 1, אל ארץ משובבת מחרב. The location where they will be heading, all of this army, will be heading in a place that the definition of it, Eretz Meshovevet Mecherev. Cherev, in the word of the Tanakh, is not just a sword. Cherev is a war. Anytime in the Tanakh that mentions Cherev, it means war. Eretz Meshovevet Mecherev, it's a land or a location that the war came, remember the word Shovav, Shovavticha, Lashuv, El Eretz Meshovevet Mecherev, meaning a place in the globe that the war come to it again and again and again and again. Many wars happen on this piece of land during the history. That's sign number 1, but it could fit more than one place. Therefore, there's sign number 2, which is very interesting. Look at it. אל ארץ משובבת מחרב, מקובצת מעמים רבים. This is really interesting. What's מקובצת מעמים רבים? The people that sitting, dwelling in this place, not too long ago, was coming to this land from all over the world. The people came from all over the world to this location, the location that the war going to happen. And again, it could fit more than one place. It could fit, only this sign could fit, let's say, Los Angeles or New York. But you have to cross all the signs together. New York or Los Angeles is not a place that during the history we find so many war in these places. It was one big war, and it was not in New York, not in Los Angeles, in the middle, right? The Civil War. So it could not fit this if you take those 2 signs together. So what is the sign number 1? El Eretz Meshovevet Mecherev, place that the sword, the war came to it again and again. Many wars happen on this location. The other thing, right before the war broke, this war, the Gog and Magog war, the people that dwelling in this place came from all over the world. Okay, that's make it more. Okay, מקובצת מעמים רבים. And now the continuation. Al Harei Israel. Very clear. It will be on the mountain of Israel. Wow, so now we know where's the location. The war gonna be in the war of Israel, in the land of Israel. And the entire world will come under the leadership of Gog, which we should still verify who he is, to the land of Israel. But he says something very interesting in the continuation. Look at this. Al Harei Israel asher hayu lechorba tamid. He mentioned over here something that could connect the location and the timing. He said before it will be in a long time ahead. We asked, there is something more accurate, more specific? The answer is yes. He speaks here about the mountains of Israel that for a long time were deserted. Hayu lechorba tamid, they were ruined for many, many years. And then the people came, the Jews came from all over the world and rebuilt it, and then the world could happen. So from here we could deduce few logic deductions. First of all, the war never happened before. Why? Many reasons. First of all, it says that the location will be in the land of Israel. In the land of Israel, in the last 70 years of the existence of the Jewish state, the Israel, we have many wars, but none of them fit this description. We have wars with the Arabs, with the Palestinians, with the Arab nations, but we never heard war with the entire world. Therefore, for sure, the war is still ahead. Question is, how far? But it could not be World War I or World War II, because they were not on the land of Israel. And here it said very clearly that it will be on the land of Israel. Yes, this is big wow. All this topic is wow, I'm telling you. And what we're learning over here is just the simple understanding of the words. And see how much information we could gather together. We're just in the beginning. Let's go on.
So anybody who says that World War II and the Holocaust was...
You have a problem with this verse. Yechazkel at least doesn't know about it. Right? Clearly the war will be in the land of Israel.
So it's brewing. It's brewing because you see all the dissent in the United Nations against Israel.
It's getting ready. It's getting ready.
Moving in this direction.
Okay. Now, let's continue. Next verse. Oh, the last three words of this verse. Verse 8. Veyashvu levetach kulam. They will be gathered. I mean, the mountain of Israel were deserted for many, many years. Then the Jews will come from all over the world and rebuild it. Right? And then he said something very interesting. Veyashvu levetach kulam. They will feel secured. They will feel secured. And I have to tell you now, this war, it's mentioned few times in the next few verses, will come as a surprise. No one will be ready for it. I mean, the Jews who lives in Israel will not know anything about it before it will start. Even though it's written over here, but unfortunately, many Israelis read other books. They do not read Tanakh. They do not read Yechezkel. But even if they will read it, and we read it, we just learning it, it still will be a surprise. And he said over here, and he mentioned a few times, that they will feel secure. They will never imagine that such a war could happen. That's what's written here. I'm again telling you what Yechezkel is saying, not what we want. What's written. That's what's written.
But it says Kulam.
All the people that
Yeah, the nation. The vast majority of the nation will feel secure. Okay, let's continue. Verse number 9. ועלית כשואה תבוא, כי הענן לכסות הארץ תהיה אתה וכל אגפיך ועמים רבים אותך. You will come And here in Yechezkel, mention the word Shoah. You heard about the Shoah? But the Shoah is a name that we give after the tragedy of the World War II, but it's mentioned in the Tanakh many, many years ago, many, many years before the Nazis and the Germans, right? It said, what is the meaning of this? What is Shoah? So let's see how they translate it over here. And you shall advance coming like a storm. Yeah, okay, it's very close to what is it. Storm is something that comes very rapidly, very quick, and do a lot of damage. Okay? ועלית כשוע תבוא, you will come like a storm. Now he says something very interesting. He gave here a parallel to a cloud that covering the earth. You know, when you wake up in the morning, especially here in New York, many days of the year, you could think, oh, the sun not rise today because it's so dark. When you have heavy, heavy clouds, the sun is covered. So he said, he gave it as a parable. He said, you will come with so many soldiers, and those soldiers will come with boots on the ground to the land of Israel in a way that you could not see the ground, because on every piece of ground will be a soldier or an army vehicle. כענן לכסות הארץ. Wow, really wow. ועלית כשוע תבוא כענן לכסות הארץ, תהיה אתה וכל אגפיך, all the nations that come with you, ועמים רבים אותך. Remember I told you, you repeat this again and again, many nations, many nations. Usually in this shiur, in this class, I want to stick to the simple understanding of the words of the prophet. But I'll add to you something over here. We will see in the prophet words, not this class, in the next class or the class after that, that it will include clearly, the Nevi'im says, the prophet says, it should be all the nation of the world. But there is something very cute that mentioned in the Medrash. In the Medrash, you know, every pasuk has 4 levels: simple, remez, drash, and sod. So in the Medrash it says the following: Gog uMagog, if you take the number of the letters, Gog uMagog, let's see, we have Gimel. Gimel is 3. How many Gimels we have in Gog uMagog? 4 Gimels. 4 times 3, 12. We have 1 Mem. Mem is 40. So we have 52. 52? 52. Gog uMagog. We have 3 Vavs. Gog, between the Gimel and the Gimel, uMagog. It's 6. 6 times 3, 18. Added to the 52 that we have, you got a 70. And this is the 70 nations of the world. So Gog uMagog, that's the Medrash. I said something cute. But usually, okay, he will gather everyone to this big mission. Now the question here again, against who and why? What is the reason? And he continues and says the following. כה אמר השם אלוקים, verse number 10. כה אמר השם אלוהים, והיה ביום ההוא, יעלו דברים על לבבך, וחשבת מחשבת רעה. At that day, you will think a very wicked thought. I thought, who is always, the entire thing is addressed to Gog.
What to go though? If it's a prophecy, why did he prophesize to go? It should be a bit to.
The prophets in the Tanakh sometimes give prophets to the Jewish nation, sometimes give to the other nations. The entire nevuah over here, the entire prophecy is to Gog, even though it should be addressed us, right? So there is another place in the Tanakh, we'll get to this later, when other Navi, not Yechezkel, describe the war from our point of view. But this nevuah, this prophecy is going to Gog.
It's like when Hashem sends Jonah to Nineveh,
Yeah,
people to
yeah, but here, the Bayona, it was about them. Here, they're actually coming to attack us in Gog and Magog. So we should be mentioned, but it's mentioned in different place. Okay, I thought that was what we could cover today, but we have another few minutes, so I'll continue. I have also the next verses. I'll just read them instead of now divided. We'll do it next time, but we'll see how many verses. Okay, so he said, at that day, you will have a wicked thought. What will be the wicked thought? Ve'amarta. I'm quoting the next verse, verse 11. ואמרת אעלה על ארץ פרזות, אבוא השוקטים יושבי לבטח כולם, יושבים בעין חומה ובריח ודלתיים אין להם. And you will say, I'm translating, I will invade a land of open towns. You will use the fact that they are not ready to this war, and you will say, wow, now it's vulnerable, I could come. I could come to this, I will invade this land of open towns. I will fall on those people living secure, and all of them living on those towns and lacking bars or gates. So again, he mentioned over here that they will not be ready, the people who will be attacked, which is the Jewish people, will not be ready for this, and he will use this, and he will come to attack them. Next verse is again very interesting. It's deal with the question that we asked before, what will be the reason? What will cause the war? Because, you know, for a leader, doesn't matter how international leader, doesn't matter how charismatic he is, to convince all the nations of the world to come with him to a war, it seems impossible, even for good reasons. If you remember when George Bush tried to push Saddam Hussein from Kuwait, he did a lot of effort and he got 28 nations. So here, it seems that this Gog has a very great talent and good reasons to convince everyone to come to the war, to this war against the Jewish nation, the entire world. So what could be the reason? Let me give you a hint. It's not the conventional usual reason. Not anti-Semitism. What?
No, I'm not. Did it have to do with the 11th one?
Yes.
Yes, those that are secure, those that are vulnerable,
Yeah.
ones that are locked up, being very secure.
But why?
It feels secure without the weak.
But what's the reason? I mean, what, you want to conquer the place? Fine, but why? Why you do that? And why all the nations of the world should be involved? And they will agree to be involved.
Because
He gave you a reason. The reason is the reason that is written over is so crazy you cannot imagine.
that they think
Verse 12. Verse 12. It's like a drama, right? It's like a movie that goes from scenery to scenery.
For the next class, could you Xerox the next page?
Yes, absolutely. We'll cover another one verse now. Next class we'll repeat this and do a summary, don't worry about it. So what will be the reason? You will come with your wicked thought, using the opportunity that they are not ready for it, to do the following. Listen to this. לשלול שלל ולבוז בז. להשיב ידך על חורבות נושבות, ואל עם מאוסף מגויים, עושה מקנה וקניין, יושבי על טבור הארץ. This is the reason. Why you gather the nations of the world to come to the war on the Jewish nation that live in the land of Israel after they just rebuilt it, in order to take spoil and seize plunder. They will be right like bandits to come to take the economy or the good treasures financially that there is in the land of Israel. To turn your hand against those people who are not, who just rebuild their cities and a nation, ve'el am me'usaf migoyim, and to the nation that just gathered from all over the world, oseh mikneh v'kinyan, and they build a big financial center that run the center, the economy of the world from this place, living in the center of the earth. That's what's written. The center of the world, of the earth. Now I have to tell you, I started to give this lecture, among many other lectures, but this particular lecture, I started to give it approximately 25 years ago. And at the time, it seemed so crazy. What do you mean? Two things in this story make no sense at all. First of all, the repetition that we will not be ready for the war. When I speak to Israelis, and even not to Israelis, you know that Israel since day one, are always trying to be ready for the next war. So what do you mean? It seems, if until now many things was very interesting, but this fact doesn't make any sense. The other thing, what do you mean? The center of the economy of the world will be in Israel? If you look 15 years ago, I'm not sure that you're familiar with this, the economy situation in Israel 15 years ago, 20 years ago, was inflation of 400%. What are you talking about? It seems, what? But now, the more we get in close, this will be so surprised, because when you read it, it doesn't make any sense. But the minute before it will happen, everything will make so much sense. Economy today is not up to agriculture. It's the brain, it's the high tech, right? Do we have what to say in this? Of course. The Jews have the Jewish head, the Jewish cock, right? So it's possible. Technology, high tech. More than that. When the Navi, the prophet, repeat again and again that they will not be ready for the war. So I have to tell you, as an Israeli, who did some service in the army also in Israel, there is something called a draw plan. You know what is this draw plan? When they plan how to defend the country from attacks. So there are draw plans. Draw plans meaning that even situations that not make sense now, but we have to be ready just in case. So we have a conflict with the Palestinians. So if war broke, it could just involve the Palestinians, but it could that other Arab nation will support them. Like I said, the Hezbollah, the Iranian, and even the entire, like it happened in the 6-Day War or Yom Kippur War, that all the Arab nation will come. So in the Israeli army, there are draw plans of situation. What if it will be extreme? So I have to tell you, without telling any secrets, there is no, in the drawer, there is no plan to be ready to such a war. There are plans, maybe will be the peace with Egypt will break down, maybe Egypt will join, maybe Turkey will join. And there are, I hope, some answers, what we're going to do in this case, in this case, in this case. But no one even bothered to plan how to defend the country from a world war when everyone, all the nation of the world will be involved. So it's fitted. It's okay. When it says that they will not be ready, they will not be ready. To this kind of war, they will not be ready. So I have to stop it right now. I know it's the middle of the tension, but that will make you coming back again next Wednesday, Bezrat Hashem. To be continued.
We have to fight the ammunition against that nation.